Have you got everything figured out yet? I know I don't. I wouldn't mind a little more awareness some days. So I ask myself this: what could I possibly learn from a movie that is about a manipulative, arrogant protagonist who meets a lovely, open-hearted woman seeking a loving partner? That's You've Got Mail. And oddly enough, I love this movie. Movies help us see ourselves, good or bad. Somewhere in every character is or was a little bit of us. We're all working out the same issues in this lifetime, just in unique ways. And the movies I choose to watch show me life could be better. I guess you could say I'm a rom-com kind of gal, romantic comedies. And for me, most importantly, I can really see how my thoughts create my reality by watching these movies. So the film You've Got Mail illustrates how words can bridge gaps and foster intimacy. In Proverbs, which is a book of the Hebrew Bible, we read in chapter 18, verse 21, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Isn't that amazing? That's such a good quote. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Our words can uplift, encourage, and inspire. Or not. We have a choice. In our daily lives, we have the opportunity to communicate with kindness and love, just as the characters do in movies when they share their thoughts and feelings. In this case, through emails. You've got mail. We just need to remember to use our words wisely because we speak life into other people. What does that mean? We speak life into other people. The words we share uplift them or bring them down. So we need to be careful, remembering that we speak life into other people by the words we use is such a really good reminder of creating reality. We participate in other people's realities all the time. And I personally see it as a responsibility to do my best to ensure that I am leaving something good behind when I'm with other people. At Unity, we know in our third principle that what we think leads to what we say and what we believe. And as such, our thoughts do create our reality. So, just a thought. How many times in the movies do you see things before they happen? So you can sense something's coming, right? You know something's coming up ahead, and you can see patterns in movies and in the characters. I know I'll be watching a movie and I'll say, oh my goodness, are you kidding? I can't believe she didn't see that. Or what was he thinking? And stop, don't do it, don't do it. Oh, and they do it anyways. You know, just I talk to the TV. So my spouse always reminds me that her mom used to do the same thing. And she said, you know, they don't hear what you're saying. I'm not changing anything. But it feels so good, right? It just feels good to let it out. Especially when we're watching sports teams. It's always, go, go, go. So how can we see things in the characters that we watch, yet we don't see it in ourselves? Well, that's kind of interesting, because here's where the mirroring has a blind spot. Everything on screen is a part of us because we create our reality, and we're sitting in front of something that is a part of our reality, and it's a part of us. But we don't always see ourselves in it until we feel something. That's the key. When we feel something, then we wake up. Humans are such that we really do need to feel things before we make a change. Before we can really see ourselves, we're feeling something to make us want to see ourselves. It's a circle, right? You can learn a lot about yourself by the movies you choose because they make you feel. So they'll also teach us about where we are on our path right now. What does it take to move us out of anger, or to bring up love, or to release grief? How many times have you watched a movie because you needed just to laugh, or you needed to let it out. You needed a good cry. We watch movies to express how we feel inside. So action movies, for instance, I love action movies and I'll watch them, but I usually watch them when I'm feeling a little punchy inside, a little overwhelmed by energy, and I'll put on the good action movie then. For me, it's usually something relatively simplistic, like the Mission Impossible or Armageddon, where there's no major killing going on and no major violence, but you're seeing something achieved. So I could always go to bed, because my movies are only out at night. But at 10 o'clock at night, when I can't sleep, I'll put on a movie. And usually it's because I need to feel something, to let something out. What about you? Have you ever watched a movie knowing you chose that movie to express an emotion? Well, I'm going to encourage you this week to explore your inner being by what you watch, to understand why you've chosen the movies that you do. So I would ask you to write out the emotion you're feeling before you put the movie on, and then write out the emotions you feel while you're in the movie with the characters, essentially with yourself in many ways. And then note why you needed the experience of those emotions now at the end of the movie, right? So why did I watch this movie? Now I've seen all the emotions. Why did I need to have those emotions now? Is there something I need to release, something I need to be attentive to? So for me, and You've Got Mail, I really like Meg Ryan's character. Of course, I like her generally as an actor, but she's a small book owner, and she's trying to keep her store afloat in spite of the big chain stores that are taking over. I mean, this happens all the time, right? We see big corporations coming in and swallowing up the little guys, so to speak. And I was so sad when I saw that deep attention she was capable of giving her listeners, right? She was all these little kids, and she was speaking to them and telling them the stories, and it was so meaningful, and they were jumping for joy inside. You could see it on their faces. But then she goes to a larger chain store, and she sees this one fella asked about some books. He hasn't a clue what's going on. He doesn't know anything about the books he's being asked about. And Meg Ryan's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. She gives so much, and yet the chain store person has no idea. So, I can see how this is reflected in my life as well. I live in a small community, and so when I really need a hardware item, we don't rush off to the big store. We like to go to the smaller stores near us because they know everything in their store. The home hardware guy, he owns the store. He knows. The guy over here in our little Rona, it's the tiniest little store you could imagine. One room of so many little hardware things and paint and keys. They make your keys, but the owners work there. And you know what you're getting when you walk in. The first thing they say, hey, hi, how are you? How can I help you? Because when I go to a Rona, Canadian Tire, Home Depot, I can barely find a sales rep. You have to hunt them down. And when you do, they know where the aisle is, but they don't really know their products very often. Much like Meg Ryan, I see my own struggle as a business owner. So I have my side gig, you could say, and I own an online school. And I was the first, I had the first company in Canada that was teaching online Reiki. And I spent a long time developing that program. And then a few years into this journey, some company came in and just undercut like $39 training. And I was like, whoa. And he spent a lot of money putting him at the top of the Google page. And I didn't want to have to pay more. So I just let that happen. I figured people will hear about us and they'll come. And they have. But at the same time, he took a lot of people into this idea that they could get this for cheap, but they didn't get a tutor. They didn't have to hand in session reports or videos or essays or do their quizzes. We don't know how well educated they are. So you can see why I chose You've Got Mail as one of my films because I can relate to it. I can relate to the business owner who's undercut or swallowed up. For a moment, just consider one movie that you can relate to. Okay? So, one movie that you feel really strongly about, that moves you, that makes you feel something, and put that in the chat room. Okay? So put it in the chat room, that one movie that really moves you. And now think about, well, why does this movie really move me? What is it about this movie that tells me a little something about me? Because if you look closely, you're going to see that you're being messaged from your highest power, your divine nature, your indwelling God self, through the choice of a movie. It's what happens. We receive messages all the time that change our lives. Our indwelling divine nature, our God self, is always in communication with us, showing us what we need to understand. In the book of Jeremiah 33, verse 3, God invites us by saying, "Call to me, and I will answer you, and will tell you great and hidden things that you have not known." That is a great quote. I will tell you the things that you have not known, but it's right in front of you. It's in the books you read, it's in the movies you watch, it's in the friends you choose. Everything you need to know is right there at all times. We need to be attentive to the ways that God is speaking to us, whether through scripture or prayer, movies, books, or the encouragement of others. So look at the movie you've chosen. What is God messaging you? What is your indwelling wisdom? That is God's aspect of you, messaging you. What do you need to see in yourself? Maybe there's something you're being called to work on. Maybe you need to release an emotion like anger, frustration, or grief, sadness, guilt, shame. Or are you looking to feel loved? Are you looking for community? Are you looking for joy or some kind of sustenance that you haven't had in a while? What is your overall need? And why does this movie help you feel better? Maybe you're being helped to feel stronger or more diligent or powerful. Maybe you're even needing to see that you're fallible, and it's okay. I hope so, because I know that I'm fallible. And if I didn't accept that, I wouldn't be able to sit here with you, because I wouldn't be very self-understanding. I wouldn't be aware of who I am and able to talk to anybody about these types of issues. Movie characters give us the opportunity to place our feelings of fallibility upon the characters in the movies. The rom-com movies I choose are filled with innocence and arrogance and kindness and goodness, but often on human fallibility. I'm not alone. You're not alone. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody falls apart. In these characters, we see ourselves and can be more forgiving of ourselves, because now we have real evidence that we're not alone. Thank goodness. And one of the simplest ways to understand is just to look at the movies that you watch. So go to your continuing to watch list on Netflix or Disney and determine whether those movies leave you feeling heavy or light. So for instance, you've got children in the house and you show them Bambi. For you, it makes you feel heavy because you know what happens. Or maybe you would never show that one. Or maybe it would lead you to feel light because it's a reminder of your childhood. Everybody's different. Cinderella might annoy you and feel heavy because it's so stereotypical. But the newer Cinderella is a feminist version. And that ideal might leave you feeling light and at last type of awareness. The key here is to notice. Notice what you bring into your life and how it reflects you and what you need to understand. Be present in each moment. And because we love movies so much as human beings, we are given a fabulous opportunity to truly understand ourselves simply by asking ourselves a few questions while choosing the movie, and then notice what arises thereafter. Movies are a great way to open, to understand, and release what is stuck. So ultimately, ask yourself the same questions that, say, a speaker does to the group they're giving talks to. When they give a talk, they want to know why, they want to know the what, the where, and the how. So, why am I wanting to watch this movie? What is it telling me about me? Where inside of me is something stuck that I'm being affected by? And how can I move it out? These are 4 good questions. And that's when we now bring up the Unity tools to help us. So it's at these times then we can pull out the denials and affirmations, release protocol, and meditation. So here's a denial and affirmation example. Okay, so I chose You've Got Mail for many years because the little hardworking woman felt swallowed up by the big business power brokers, which left her feeling powerless. So my denial and affirmation is this: I give no power to the strength of others being greater than my own. Breath in, breath out. I give no power to the strength of others being greater than my own. What would your denial be? I give no power to what? Right? This is something to remember. Now, my affirmation is, I am powerful and fully aware of the steps I need to make my business a success. That's powerful stuff. So this is how the movie has helped me to understand me. And I might need to say these things quite a few times before I'm going to feel it. Because feeling is why we do most things. And feelings are powerful.
I don't really know everyone's name over there. I have
to get to know you with your movie choices ahead. Norma. And then use the Unity tools of denials and affirmation.
Thank you.
And then eventually meditation to move yourself into better understanding so you can truly feel more powerful, more abundant, and ultimately more alive in self-understanding.
Yes, I have heard.
And so it is.